asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness unto light. Lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Good evening, everybody. This is a usual Upanishad class, but since I have two classes, I had one 2 weeks back and one now. What I did last time was talk about Upanishads in general, what they are, their importance, the central message. But today I'll talk about it in particular, take up one and talk about it. Last time we spoke about what the Upanishads are, and you recollect, Upanishads are the source of Hinduism. They are the fundamental source of Vedanta. In fact, Upanishads are these texts which you find in the Vedas, which collectively, in fact, are called Vedanta. We are sitting here in the Vedanta society. If you ask what is Vedanta, one way of defining Vedanta would be the canonical texts called the Upanishads. The spiritual wisdom that we get from the texts called Upanishads is Vedanta. I'm actually translating the definition of Vedanta we were taught as novices. Vedanta nama Upanishad pramanam. These Upanishads are many in number, but basically around some 10 of these texts are taken as primary. There is actually no primary or secondary, major or minor Upanishads, but we have made an artificial division based on the selection made by Adi Shankaracharya, a great philosopher saint of about 1400 years ago, who selected 10 of these Upanishads, one more controversially, the Shvetashvatara. So 11 Upanishads in all, to write commentaries, explanatory texts. So those ones he selected are called the major Upanishads. But there are more than 10. There are many of those Upanishads. In fact, we have a list of 108 Upanishads in one of the Upanishads themselves. What do these Upanishads teach us? They tell us that, to put it briefly, succinctly, in one sentence, that thou art. You are Brahman. That spiritual reality which we all are seeking, the solution to all our life's problems, is already within us, not within us. We are that. We are that which we are seeking. Seeking where? Everywhere, whatever anybody is doing. Right here, you're in Vedanta society, you are seeking a little wisely, but all those people who are not in Vedanta society, outside moving around everywhere, good, bad and ugly, they're all seeking, they're striving. And the Upanishads say that what they are all striving for ultimately is this reality which we already are. This summary of Upanishadic teaching is called Mahavakya, the great sentence. Most famously, that thou art, Tat Tvam Asi. That's from one of the Upanishads, the Chandogya Upanishad. Now the Upanishads have been fundamental to the development of Hinduism. Last time I mentioned how the different great philosophical systems, Advaita Vedanta, non-dual Vedanta, Vishishtadvaita Vedanta, the qualified monastic Vedanta, Dvaita Vedanta, dualistic Vedanta, and indeed all other philosophical systems within Vedanta, Shuddhadvaita, Dvaitadvaita, Achintya Bheda Ved, all of these, they are all basically commentaries, traditions of commentaries on these Upanishads. So you can see Upanishads are the foundation of these philosophical systems. You might say, well, philosophical systems are all right. What does it have to do with me? In fact, if you look at Hinduism as you encounter it, when you come here, us, we are based on one commentarial tradition of the Upanishads called Advaita Vedanta, the commentarial tradition of Shankaracharya. If you go out there, you would not suspect it. But if you see the Hare Krishnas, I come from New York now, and that's where the Hare Krishnas had their start, the ISKCON. But ISKCON really did not start there. They have an ancient tradition behind them. They are the Gaudiya Vaishnava school of Vedanta. So they are also one. Come on up ahead. There are chairs here. Come on. So they are also one of the branches of Upanishadic commentary. Come on up. There are chairs here and there. Chino Hills. If you go there, you will find this magnificent Swami Sarvapriyananda temple, which is another sect of Hinduism. And you would not suspect it. The Upanishads are there right there too, because they trace their philosophical descent from one of the schools of Vedanta, Ramanuja's qualified monism, Vishishtadvaita. In this way, the Upanishads have been at the foundation, the source of Hinduism, directly or indirectly. You can trace it back. Even more distantly, the sects and the religions of Buddhism, Jainism, not directly Upanishadic, but sometimes in revolt to the Vedic tradition, in contradistinction to the Vedic tradition. See, if you are basing yourself on a text or revolting against its text, you are tied to that text. So that's the importance of the Upanishads to India, to the whole of religion in India for thousands of years. To the West also, last time we discussed how the Upanishads came to the West, what Schopenhauer said about the Upanishads. He said it was the solace of my life and it will be the solace of my death. He said, I consider the study of these, the book he had got in his hand was Upanishads, which is a Latin translation of a Persian translation of the Sanskrit original. And by studying that, he said, I consider the study of this Upanishad to be the most beneficial in the whole world, except perhaps the originals, he said. Not just Schopenhauer. Even in this country, Emerson, Thoreau, Whitman, T.S. Eliot. We are finding more and more in the notes which we have that he had thoroughly read the Upanishads in the original Sanskrit. So all of them, they had deep influence. Somebody said Emerson is the mind of America, and one of his biographers. And he said many Americans do not know, little know how much that mind was shaped by the wisdom of India. Now you might say, okay, I'm sold. You don't have to advertise it anymore. Can I have a taste of the real thing? And that's why, come on in, there's space here, yes. Yeah. That's why I took up one Upanishad. Let's get, in the brief compass of time available to us, let's get acquainted with one Upanishad. We have, in the Vedanta Society, have been coming here, been experiencing it. So I took up one, the Kena Upanishad, to talk about that. And I started last time. Kena Upanishad is one of my favorites. It's small. It's very, very profound, very deep, and very fascinating. It's in the form of a dialogue between a teacher and a student. Most of the Upanishads are. Sometimes the teachers and students are named. Sometimes you don't find any names. But there are questions and answers. And they are always about the ultimate reality. What is the truth about myself, the universe, and life? That's the question. It's the grandest theme ever. Now each Upanishad has a different approach to it. I sometimes think these Upanishads each of them can be a foundation for a different religion. They're so rich and so diverse. But they all come back to this grandest of questions. Who am I? What is the ultimate reality? What's the purpose of life? How can I overcome suffering? How can I attain peace and joy and profound peace and joy? And they are very direct, the Upanishads. So I took up the Kena Upanishad last time, and we saw the question. We just had time to see the question. The question is, I'll recite the original Sanskrit mantra. It's thrilling in itself, and I'll translate, and then we dwell some time over it. And then we'll look at the answer today. The first mantra of the Upanishad is the question. We don't know who the student is, we don't know who the teacher is, but we have questions and answers. The question goes like this. By what, impelled by what, does my mind think thoughts? Impelled by what do I speak these words? What gives me the experience of seeing? Right now, seeing. What gives me the experience of hearing? What enables life to perform all its functions? And notice, these are not many questions. You see, he is not asking about what makes my mind tick. He's not asking, teach me Freudian psychoanalysis. What makes my eyes work? He's not asking for a lesson in physiology. How do the lens and the nervous, the optical nerves and all that, how do they work? He's not asking for a physiology lesson. He's not asking a biological question or a psychological question. He's asking only one question in all of these questions. Our conscious life, the life which we are leading right now, is constituted of sights, sounds, thoughts, feelings, memories, breathing, life. This is what we experience all the time. What enables this to happen? This is the question, fundamental question. I mean, you cannot go any deeper than this. Kene shitam patati preshitam mana, kena prana prathama preti yukta, kene shitam vacham imam vadanti, chakshu shrotram kaudeva yunakti. What a beautiful way it's put. What brightness, what bright being within me gives me all these experiences. You see, consciousness is brightness, it's light, it's awareness. What is the nature of this awareness? How much more direct can you get? Last time I dwelt on this question, I don't want to dwell on it anymore. I pointed out that it's only right now at the beginning of the 20th century that this question was precisely formulated for our times, what is called the hard problem of consciousness. If you look it up, it's a huge thing. Now there's a play on the hard problem of consciousness in London. It's called the hard problem of consciousness. This essential light within us, by which we experience joy, by which we experience pain, by which we think. We have not even been able to, it's so common to all our experiences, we always ignored it. But now people are asking this question. Consciousness studies, scientists are asking, psychologists are asking, linguists are asking, philosophers are asking. And thousands of years ago, the student in Kena Upanishad asks this question. And he gets an answer. Not the way he thought he would. The answer is very interesting. And I'll give you the answer first, translate, and then we'll look at the answer. The teacher replies, Shrotrasya shrotram manaso mano yad vachoha vacham sau pranasya pranaha chakshushas chakshur atimuchya dhira pretya asmad lokad amrita bhavanti. The key mantra, the key text of the entire Upanishad. Get this, you don't need anything else. Not only in the Upanishad, nothing else you need in life anymore. The problem of life is solved right here. The answer to this question is given directly. What is consciousness? That answer is given, is pointed out. How do you realize this? How do you make it live? How do you get it? I mean, how do you, what exactly is enlightenment? That is answered in this mantra. And what good does it do to me? That is answered in this mantra. Atma Swarupam, the nature of the self, that's one. Atma Jnanam, enlightenment about the self, that's two. Atma Jnana Phalam, the result of such enlightenment, that's three. All of these are packed into this one mantra. And at the end of this, we'll all feel, no, I want to listen to more. And that's how the Upanishad goes on. Detailed explanations, more and more detailed explanation. But let's unpack this mantra and see what the answers are. The very first question, the question of his student was, what is consciousness? And that is answered here. If you, there was this dictionary of psychology, I think. So the term consciousness, and there was some cursory attempt at definition of consciousness, and then it's written, nothing worth reading has been written about it. Literally so. It's a textbook. Long ago, but now, I mean, few decades ago. Now a lot has been written, but again, not worth reading, not much worth reading. But people are making, scientists are making, philosophers are making very serious attempts at trying to understand and grasp consciousness. And you have a wide array of answers. Some of them are very Vedantic, as we shall see. Some of them are very materialistic, trying to say the consciousness is just a product of the brain. Like your liver secretes bile, the brain secretes consciousness. Something like that. You may laugh. There are very serious scientists who hold this view. I attended a debate in Brooklyn, in Pioneer Works in Brooklyn. There's a series called Scientific Controversies. And I had taken a group of Vedanta students there. When I went there, it looked like some kind of a rock party, you know. There were these people, all very young people. And they were drinking beer, and I thought there was going to be music and dancing afterwards. There was a hard music going on there. I thought, where have we come? But when the debate started, it was a very serious affair. On one side, David Chalmers, head of the mind-brain consciousness unit of NYU. On the other side, Paul Allen, the chief scientist of the Paul Allen Brain Trust, Christoph Koch. One of them was saying, consciousness is a product of the body. How it happens, what it happens, we don't know yet, but it's clearly a product of the body. It's nothing other than matter, product of matter. And the other side, David Chalmers, in neutral language, in secular language, in scientific language, non-Upanishadic, non-spiritual, non-Vedantic language, he's saying more or less what the Kena Upanishad said thousands of years ago. So it's a major scientific position now. It's that important now. We are at that cusp of a new understanding of consciousness. I quoted Evan Thomas's book last time, Evan Thompson's book, Waking, Dreaming and Being, where he says, the Upanishads are so important. He says consciousness studies did not start 20 years ago. Consciousness studies started thousands of years ago in these texts called the Upanishads. And he says the Upanishads are so important, we ought to date our history as before Upanishads and after Upanishads. Okay. But coming back to the answer. So first is, what is this consciousness? And the beauty of this mantra is it points so directly. It's unsettling. Dear student, you asked what is consciousness? What is this bright being within which gives us all conscious experience? How do I hear? How do I see? How do I think? How do I hear? He says, Shrotrasya Shrotram, by the ear of the ear. What is that? How do I think? By the mind of the mind. How do I get the expression, the experience of speaking? So let me guess, by the speech of the speech? Yes, you're right. So how do I smell? Nose of the nose? Whatever does it mean? It means this. When you say ear of the ear, or eye of the eye, or speech of the speech, you mean three things. One, it is not the ear. If you say, but you hear by the ear, then the answer is straight. But if you say ear of the ear, you get the conscious experience of hearing something right now. With the help of the ear, no doubt. But there is something other than the ear. First point. Ear, when you say ear of the ear, when you say owner of the house, you don't mean the house. You mean something other than the house. Resident of the house, you don't mean the house itself. You mean something other than the house. Ear of the ear, you mean something other than the ear. But you also mean something which is right there, functioning in the ear, through the auditory system, through the system by which you hear, which powers it, which lights it up, as it were. You also mean, number three, that which enables the ear to do what it does. To make it very simple, just not abstract. I also gave this example last time. Look at all these electrical devices. This bulb, when it was there in the shop, it did not give light. Then what happened to it when the Swami bought it and plugged it in here? Now it's shining. The air conditioner, when it was in the shop, it was not cooling the shop. When you bought it here and plugged it in, what happened? It starts cooling the room. This microphone, when it was in the box, it was not amplifying sound. But when you plug it in, it starts amplifying sound. Now I can ask this question. By what does the microphone amplify sound? The light, the bulb gave light, and the air conditioner cooled the room. Yeah, you are all Vedantic teachers. True. True. Electricity. Now suppose the teacher answers by the microphone of the microphone, by the light, the bulb of the bulb, and the air conditioner of the air conditioner. He answers that way. We know what, this is why you use such language. We know what you mean. You mean electricity. What is electricity? It's something quite other than the microphone. Electricity is not microphone. 1. It pervades the microphone. It enters into the microphone. 2. And 3, it enables the microphone to do what the microphone does. Amplify sound. Electricity by itself does not amplify sound. Electricity by itself does not shine and give light. Electricity by itself does not cool the room. These are functions of these devices, but they are enabled to do it because of the presence of electricity. Now that's a sort of rough and ready example for what consciousness does. It is not our physical system. Quite contrary to the materialist reductionist approach, consciousness is quite apart from this physical system. It's not even, Vedanta proposes that consciousness is not produced by this system. It's not a part of this system, no more than electricity is a part of the microphone. Take the microphone apart, you will not find electricity, as long as it's unplugged. You're going to get an awful shock if you do that. You know, they say, before opening the unit, unplug it. So, if you examine the physical system, you will not find consciousness. You will find flesh and blood and cells and organs and tissues, biological activity, chemical activity, neurochemical activity. But consciousness itself you will not find. And yet, it is right here in this system. Just like electricity enables this to do what it is meant to do and that to do what it is meant to do and the air conditioner to do what it is meant to do, similarly, consciousness is that which enters into this physical system, this biological system, and enables every organ to do what they were meant to do. Eyes to see, ears to hear, your tongue to taste, mind to think, and the conscious activities of speaking and walking and talking and deciding and feeling and all of this. All of these are part of the physical system, biological system, but consciousness is apart from that, but enables it to do it. Now remember, I'm making a very subtle but very important distinction. I'm not saying consciousness actually performs the mechanical actions of seeing, hearing, talking, and smelling. No. You have the difference between when you go to a door in the airport, the door opens. After a fashion, the door sees you. There's a sensor there. It notices the approach of your body and it opens. But it actually does not see. It does not decide. It's an entirely mechanical, physical. You can explain it in terms of physics and you can explain it in terms of electricity and sensors and computer science. You can explain it. The door does not get a conscious experience of, I am seeing this person coming and now I must open the door. No, it doesn't do that. Whereas, if you open the door for somebody else, there's something very distinct going on within you. You perform the same function outside, but inside there is an experience. Which is this first person experience that consciousness gives us. And our life is nothing but this first person experience. Think about it. What is our life, your life, other than this first person experience? You might say, no, why? I eat and I breathe and I talk. These are all physical actions. These are biological actions. Yes, but they're all actions in your first person experience, in your experience of life. It's a lived experience. And that, fundamental for that, is consciousness. He points to that consciousness. Now, a lot has been said here. I mean, there is no time to unpack the whole thing, but a lot has already been said here. One is, this consciousness transcends the physical system. It's not part of the physical system. If the device is broken there, if the bulb is broken, electricity is not broken. If the microphone stops functioning, electricity is not broken. Electricity is there, just the device doesn't function, so electricity cannot make it work. Similarly, the claim is, if this body dies, so no longer do the eyes see or the ears hear, or no longer do we speak or think in this body, but consciousness is not destroyed thereby. Consciousness is not destroyed thereby. That's the claim. Consciousness is immortal. The claim is also that consciousness is unchanging. Everything, all the changes that we notice are in the body or the mind. Think about it. Things in the world change. People come and go. Things in the body change. From childhood to teenage, to middle age, to old age. The body is changing. The mind changes continuously. Notice that the mind and consciousness are clearly distinguished. Mind and consciousness are clearly distinguished. It's a huge step forward. In Vedanta, mind and consciousness are not the same thing. The thoughts that you are aware of, the emotions that you feel, that's the mind. The memories that you can recover or not recover, that's the mind. The intellect that understands, the intellect which we are using to understand this, that's the mind. But the awareness of all of that is consciousness. Mind changes continuously, very fast. Consciousness does not change. Even when we go into waking and when we fall asleep and we dream, consciousness has not changed according to Vedanta. It's the mind which has fallen asleep. When the mind goes into deep sleep, shuts down as it were, consciousness has not shut down. Consciousness is just illumining the absence of mind, the non-functioning of the mind. So one thing that is pointed out is consciousness is unchanging. If consciousness is unchanging, then consciousness cannot die. Death is a change. The body can die. Even maybe the mind can shut down. But consciousness cannot die. Every problem we face is in the body or the mind. Oh, I have a tummy ache. In the tummy, not in consciousness. Consciousness does not have a tummy ache. It doesn't have a tummy. Oh, I'm so depressed. The mind is depressed. Are you aware of the depression in the mind? Yes. The one which is aware of the depression in the mind, is that one depressed? No. I mean, the implications of this paradoxical statement are so wide. I'm just giving you, later on in question answers it might come out. So he says, Atimuchya dhiraha. The spiritual seeker is a very profound word which is used for the spiritual seeker. Dhira, literally it means the patient one, the heroic one, the one who realizes the truth and builds his or her life upon the ground of that truth. Dhiraha. Atimuchya. Transcends. The word used is transcends. What is the result of this understanding, of this insight? You transcend this body-mind complex. Transcending body-mind complex means not that you pop out of your body or you come out like a mist of smoke or something and the body remains separately, an out-of-body experience. No. You still remain within the body. You transcend the body exactly in the same way as electricity transcends this device. What do you mean transcends this device? The device, before the device was plugged in, the electricity was there. When the device is plugged in, the electricity is there. If the device is broken or unplugged, electricity is still there. In the same way, you, the consciousness, you transcend this body-mind complex. You are in it, functioning through it, but you are not it. This transcendence is in this form. When right now our feeling is, and modern the reductionist science says, I am a body with consciousness, or I am a body-mind with a spark of consciousness. What this Upanishad tells us is, you are consciousness in a body-mind, functioning through a body-mind. You do not need the body-mind. The body-mind needs you. Without you, in this body-mind, darkness. It's a zombie. The concept of zombie is there. So it's a zombie. But with you, the body-mind functions as this individual. Our problem is, we have forgotten our true nature as pure consciousness, and we have identified ourselves with the body and mind, and hence all problems which accrue to the body and mind, they accrue to us. It becomes my problem. I am putting on weight. I must exercise. I must join a fitness club. Some kind of fitness club. I must do that. What's putting on weight? Not consciousness. Not a fat consciousness. It's the body which is putting on weight. I'm bored. I need to watch TV. What's bored? Not consciousness. It's the mind which is bored. I'm angry. What's angry? Not consciousness. It's the consciousness illumining anger, a flash of anger in the mind. I am deeply calm and meditative. Not consciousness. It's still the same. It's the mind which is calm and meditative. Consciousness just illumines that. This is called transcendence of body-mind. And this is, we're staying in the body-mind, right here, functioning within the body-mind. You attain this. What is the result of this? Vedanta would say, Atyantika dukkha nivritti paramananda prapti. You transcend all sorrow forever. Again, the word is transcend. Transcend means not that all your health problems will be solved, your financial problems will be solved, your mortgage problems will be solved, your parking problems will be solved forever. No. No. The world outside remains as it is. The world that is in the body remains as it is. Even the mind, in a way, remains as it is. But you, as consciousness, have none of those problems. And you can go on and deal with the problems as they arrive, at the level of the body and the mind, the level of the society. But you know yourself to be untouched, completely invulnerable to those problems. Pretya asmad lokad amrita bhavanti. It says, you transcend this world while being in this world, and you become immortal. Become immortal means, it's just a way of putting it. You are immortal. You are that immortal consciousness. You just realize it. That is attainment of eternal peace and felicity, of joy and peace, and the peace that passeth understanding. So this is the sum and substance of the answer, the core of the answer that is given to the student. Notice one thing. It's entirely impersonal. There's no Hindu or Christian or Buddhist. There's no theist or atheist about it. It's stated as a scientific fact. It's stated as something that is obvious. You can appreciate it. Not only that, it's not something that you have to wait for. It's that reality they talk about, this pure consciousness, is not something that's separated from you by time and space. By that, what I mean is, it's not a heaven that you have to wait for after. If you're a pretty good boy or girl, then after death you go to the nice place. If you're not, after death you go to the other place. It's a religious solution that is separated from you by time, by death. Here they are not proposing a post-mortem religion. After death you get something. No. Right now. Why not? It's available right now. Why shouldn't you get it right now? It's not a distance separated by it's not something separated by distance. I saw a billboard. Heaven is a place. This pure consciousness is not a place you go to. It's you. And it's available right here. Right now, right here. In fact, it is you. Not even within you, it's you. All right, you will say, we are sold. Wonderful. How do I realize it? How do I appreciate it? How do I get all the benefits? I like it. Yeah. When do the benefits start flowing to me? I want to realize this. Then the teacher says, here comes the rub. He says, the next mantra says, Na tatra chakshur gacchati na vag gacchati no manaha na vidmo na vijanimo yatheitad anushishyad. Teach it to me, O teacher. I want to realize this pure consciousness. I want to be liberated. I want to be immortal. I want to transcend all my problems right now, right here. Where is this pure consciousness? Give it to me. The teacher says, there's a problem. What's the problem? Na tatra chakshur gacchati. The eyes do not go there. The eyes do not go there means you cannot see it. And the eyes stand in for all the sense organs. You cannot hear it. You cannot smell it. You cannot touch it. You cannot taste it. Pure consciousness. Can I go to it in pilgrimage? You cannot go to it. It's not in Benares or in Jerusalem or anywhere. No. Vedanta Society? No, not even here. You cannot go to it. None of these motor organs, none of the sense organs will help you. Pure consciousness is not an object of these sense organs. Okay, at least you can teach it to me in words. No, no words can express it. Na vag gacchati. Words cannot express it. But you just expressed it. Ear of the ear, eye of the eye, the mind of the mind. Yeah, but what did I say? Did you get it? No, not really. The teacher says, you know why I use such language? If I say it's pure consciousness, it's Atman, it's Brahman, then what will happen is you will think, okay, there is an Atman or Brahman which I need to look for. It's not like that. If you say, okay, it's me, you said it's me, right? Yes. So why didn't you say that pure consciousness is you? Well, if I say it's you, you know what the problem will be? You already have a very clear but completely wrong idea of what you are. So the moment I say that pure consciousness is you, you will say, oh, this is me. So this is pure consciousness. No, it's not that either. It's not what you think yourself to be. True, it's you, but not what you think yourself to be. You already have a very clear and very wrong idea about yourself, that I am this body and mind. So if a teacher says, you are pure consciousness, you will think, okay, I am pure consciousness, this body and mind. No, that's not right. That's why I use such language. That language it's wonderful. And the Kena Upanishad is full of such paradoxical language. We'll see. So the speech cannot express it. Well, at least give me an idea about it, a concept. Na manaha, the mind cannot think about it. You mean I can't even think about it? No. I can't understand it? No. This looks difficult. Well, then I'm helpless. You do what you want. You tell me. You know it, right? You know it. He asked the teacher. And the teacher says, na vidmam. I don't know it. But you can teach me, right? That's why I'm here. No, we don't know how to teach it either. Na vidmo na vijanimo yatheitad anushishyat. How to teach it? We do not know. It cannot be taught. You can see the student, you wasted my time. We came all the way and we braved the Los Angeles traffic and we parked with great difficulty. You should have told me, half the class is gone. Well, let me find my way out. And so the teacher says, wait. There's one thing we can do. The way I came to enlightenment, I can transfer that to you. And we'll see if it works. What is that? Next mantra, the teacher says. Remember, we are trying to become enlightened, realize that we are pure consciousness. So here is the instruction. What is that pure consciousness? He says, Anya deva tad vidita datho avidita dadhi iti shushruma purvesham yenas tadvyacha chakshire. Thus we have heard from our ancient masters. What I have heard, I transmit unto you. What is that? That pure consciousness you're looking for. It is other than anything that you know. Whatever you know of, set it aside. It's not that. And all that you do not know, set that aside. That's not it also. It's other than the known, it's other than the unknown. It's a very powerful instruction. What do you mean? If it's something that I do not know, then it's unknown. So this pure consciousness is something that I do not know. It's an unknown thing for me. The teacher says, not even that. It's not unknown. It's not known. Now tell me, What's the only thing that is neither known nor unknown? What is the one thing that you cannot say, I know it as an object, like a glass, like my body, like the mind, nothing like this. Like the universe, nothing like this. And yet it's not unknown either. It's always there. What's that? I am, awareness, all the good answers. Exist, I am, I exist, awareness. In all our experiences, what's the one common thing? I. All your life. Not even the ego. I'm not even talking about the ego. The presence, the awareness, the being, the isness of everything. Just think, your life, the constant is isness. It's just coloring upon isness. In fact, one of the Vedantic texts says, it's like an easel, a canvas on which a painter paints. Whatever you paint, that's your life. But the canvas is always there. Without that, you cannot paint. That canvas, what is that canvas in your life? It's you yourself. But which you? Here's the wonderful, the beauty of this teaching. Everything about yourself that you know, set it aside. Body, breath. No, not this either. The thoughts, not that. Memories, not that. Feelings, not that. Perceptions, not that. Understanding, not that. Then nothing, blank, unknown, not that. Can you stay with that? The story of the 10 people who crossed a river, I've often told that story. 10 friends crossed a river. It's an old Indian story. 10 friends crossed a river. And after crossing the river, they thought, have we all crossed over or did somebody drown? So let's count. And they counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh my God, the 10th person is dead. He drowned. The other person, somebody else said, you're not doing it right. You stand here, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh my God, the 10th person is drowned. Our friend drowned in the river. And they started wailing and weeping until a wise person comes by and asks, what are you crying for, my friends? And they say that, oh, our friend drowned. We were 10, now we are 9. And the wise man must have counted. And he said, how are you 9 now? We counted. Then the wise man says, don't weep. This is important. The Guru says this to us. The Upanishad says, don't be afraid. That which you are seeking for exists. The 10th person is there, is alive and well. Where? Relax, I'll show you. Don't weep. That's what, Master tells us. Enlightenment is possible. Your Buddha nature is there. The Atman, Brahman, it's there. You say, where? Relax, I'll show you. And he says, now you count. They say, we have counted. Humor me, show me. He counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I told you. 9. And the wise man comes and takes his hand and points it this way. Thou art the 10th. Dashamastvamasi. Thou art the 10th. And this person says, wow, 10. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10. Oh my God, the 10th person has been found. And the others say, let me try it. And they all come and do that and they find the 10th person. They're so happy and they're so grateful. But we are doing exactly the same thing. What is it that makes the eyes see and the minds think and the speech speak? All these conscious experiences of our life. Count them. Sit down calmly and count. Here is the physical body. Here are the life processes. Breathing. Go deeper. Here are thoughts. Go deeper. Here is the intellect, understanding, memories. Even the ego, I. Go deeper. Blank, nothing. What is it that watches these? The blank you come to when you dismiss even the intellect. You see, there's nothing more. The student asks, other than what I can experience here, there is nothing more. And the teacher replies, except, you're right, there's nothing more to be experienced here, except the one who is experiencing. It's the mistake they were making. There are only these 9. Where is the 10th person? And what did the wise man say? You're right. There are only these 9 to be counted. And there is one more, the one who was counting. How can you deny the counter? The one who's counting. How? Here is the precise question. How can you deny that which experiences body, mind, intellect, thinking, feeling, speaking, hearing? Are you with me? No? He gives a test to the student. Have you got it? There's actually a test. The teacher says, have you got it? Remember, it's not an object. It's not an object. That's the problem. It's not an object. What was the mistake of the person who was counting? What mistake? Why didn't he find the 10th person? Because he was looking in the wrong place. Where was he looking? Why was he looking outside? Can you think about that? If you know that, you will know what prevents us. What is this flimsy barrier between you and enlightenment? What is it? What made him look outside? Why did he think he would find the 10th person outside? Because he found the first 9 outside. So he thought, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Clearly the 10th one should have been there, but it's not there. It drowned. The problem is, the self is not an object. We may say, yeah, I know. We may say that. We are not getting it. That's the fun. The search for God, a mystic said, is the problem with the search for God is, the one you are looking for through these eyes is the one who is looking through these eyes. I didn't invent it, so I didn't coin that. It's a great mystic in the past ages. It's not an object. And everywhere we're looking for an object. If I describe it to you in the finest Upanishadic terms, pure existence, pure consciousness, pure bliss, you know what we'll do? We're trying to look for pure existence. Pure existence. As an object, never. You'll never get it. And what happens is, when you finally begin to see that you do not get it as an object, the next big ditch we fall into is, so it's not there. 10th person is drowned. There is no Atman, no, I can't find it. So it's not there. You are mistaking the one, you are ignoring the one who counted. You are ignoring the one who's trying to find it. You're ignoring the awareness itself. In fact, you're ignoring the only one reality which lights up your life. You're looking at the objects, you're missing the light. The reason why you're missing the light is you yourself are that light. No harm done. Because you yourself are that light, you can never perish. You just go on seeking for a few lives more. So there's a test given by the teacher. The teacher says, Yadi manyase suvedeti dahramevapi nunam tvam vetta brahmano rupam yadasya tvam yadasya deveshvatanu memamsyamevate manye viditam. My dear student, have you understood it, what I taught? And the student says, yes. And the teacher says, you have understood very little. This pure consciousness as it is in you or as it is in the gods, whatever it is, you have understood very little if you say you have understood. Because if you think I found it like I have found this glass, you have got a concept maybe. You have got an understanding. That's not pure consciousness. If you say I have got it as an object, then you have not got it, because it's not an object. Even the subtlest thing that you can get is still a subtle thing. Even the subtlest concept that you can arrive at of the Upanishad, of the self, is still a concept. It's not the self. And the student was a remarkable student, worthy of the teacher. The student says confidently, Manye viditam, I have understood it. I've got it. And the teacher says, Mimamsyam evate, analyze it further, investigate further. Are you sure? Think about your answer before you give me. I'm confident, I've got it. And the teacher, glares at him sort of, You don't seem to get it. It's not an object you can get. You see, the teacher puts the student in a dilemma. If the student says, I have got it, it's wrong, because you cannot get it as an object. You cannot understand it as an object. If the student says, I have not got it, you're stupid, you flunked the course. If the teacher, and there's no option of keeping silent. At least the teacher can keep silence, and the silence is the highest exposition of the Atman. Silence is profound, silence is cool. But if you're a student, you can't afford to keep silent. This teacher is asking a question, you have to reply. Now what does the student do? If he says, yes, I've got it, it's clearly wrong. No, I've not got it. You flunked it. Keep silent. You flunked it again because I expect an answer. And the student says, yes, I have got it. And the teacher says, explain. You can't be that stupid. And the student says, Naham manye suvedeti no na vedeti vedacha yonas tad veda no na vedeti vedacha. Here's more of that language. Very interesting. If I translate directly, I do not say that I have known it. It is not that I do not know it. I know it. Those amongst us, he points to the other students, those amongst us who have understood my statement that I do not know it, yet it's not that I do not know it. They know it. I'll repeat it. Naham manye suvedita. I do not say that I have known it. Yet, no na Veda. Not that I do not know it. Vedacha, I know it. And then he points to all the other students. Yonas tad Veda. The amongst us who are sitting here, those who have understood my statement that I know it, and I do not say that I know it, and yet it is not that I do not know it, they know it. I'll repeat that. Amongst those who are sitting here, those who have understood this statement, that I do not say that I know it, and yet I do not say that I do not know it. I know it. They know it. And the teacher is so happy. He understood that the student is worthy. He's put it precisely. He's just rephrased the teacher's own teaching. What was the teacher's teaching? It is other than the known, it's other than the unknown. It's exactly what the student says. And he rephrases it in his own language so that he shows the teacher, I've got it. Now many of you look puzzled. And I'm sure thousands of years back, many of the other students looked puzzled. What's he talking about? The teacher speaks in riddles, and now the students he's got the same contagion. He's speaking in riddles too. Now the teacher explains to all the students. Yasya matam tasya matam yasya na vedasa avijñātam vijānatam vijñātam avijānatam. Beautiful. Completely paradoxical language. He is explaining. The teacher says, look, I'll explain it to you. Those who think they know it as an object, they know it not. Those who know that it cannot be known as an object, they know it. Avijñātam vijānatam. It is unknown to those who have known it. It is known to those who have not known it. And yet, I can see, many of you get it. This pure consciousness which is not an object, which is you in fact. The non-objective you. One teacher puts it so precisely, I can't put it more precisely. Not this you. Not this awareness. Look at the awareness that you are. And from that awareness, eliminate, that means ignore, set aside mentally, everything that you can qualify as this. This body, set aside. This breath, set aside. This mind, this problem, this happiness, this desire, this good and this bad and this guilt and this, set aside. Because it's an object. Even the intellect with which you are trying to understand this, it's this intellect, this understanding, set aside for the moment. Nothing, Swami. That nothingness, set aside. What remains? Not this awareness. From awareness, eliminate the this. In your understanding, eliminate the this. You will come to that. You will come to that, and you will say with the teacher, it is unknown to those who claim they know it. It is known to those who claim it cannot be known. Avijñātam vijānatam. Then the next statement is even more grand. Pratibodha viditam matam amritatvam hi vindate. Those who know it, Brahman, Atman, the pure consciousness, when? In every experience of life. In every experience of life, they attain immortality. In every experience of life, can consciousness be appreciated when you are seeing? Yes. It is that awareness which through the mind and the eyes and the object gives me the experience of seeing. Can pure consciousness be appreciated in hearing? Yes. It is that awareness which with the mind and the ears and sound gives me the feeling of hearing. Can I experience pure consciousness in pain? Yes. It is that awareness which with the mind and the body and the nerves interprets or experiences pain. It illumines pain. Is it itself ever in pain? No. Never. Pratibodha viditam matam. In every experience, when you realize yourself as pure consciousness, making that experience possible, illumining that experience, then you are immortal. Amritatvam hi vindate. Then you get immortality. Get immortality means you realize yourself as that immortal pure consciousness. We can go on. There's so much to it. Little cryptic statements, very powerful. But let me throw it out for questions. Let me dwell in it for the next few minutes. Don't ask philosophical questions. Ask a direct question regarding this pure consciousness right now, from your lived experience. Yes, the gentleman there. I'll come to you later. Speak into the microphone.
Thank you. If you glimpse immortality as you're describing it, can one forget it?
No, one cannot. You see, it's like, I'll give you a simple example. What's your name?
Vartan.
Vartan. So, that your name is Vartan, you don't generally forget it. If you act in a play as, say, Macbeth, then for the time being you're acting as Macbeth, but you know I'm an actor called Vartan. That knowledge you don't have to remember. I must keep on remembering I'm Vartan, otherwise I might forget. No, you don't. You throw yourself 100% into the acting, and when you come out you're still the same person, Vartan. That knowledge is not lost. Now, that's an example. You might say it's lost in deep sleep, for example. You don't think about it when the mind does not function. But no, it's not lost. The claim is, once you understand yourself as pure consciousness, once you know that, it's continuously available to you. It's like sitting in light. Sometimes you may look at the light, sometimes you may not. But you can never escape from the light, because everything that you experience is experienced in that light. Once you understand the light of pure consciousness, you will see every experience in life speaks to you about that. How can you forget it? How can you forget it? If it is one thing among many, then you can forget it. The whole problem in religion is keeping your mind on God. Everybody says it's so difficult. My mind is full of so many other things. I can't keep my mind on God. Because we take God as one thing among 1,000 other things. So the mind naturally dwells among 1,000 things. But if I say, seeing what here reminds you of your eyes. Careful, question. Seeing what here reminds you of your eyes. You say seeing anything, because seeing itself reminds me of my eyes. No? You might say, no, I have to look at the mirror to see my eyes. Not necessary. The very fact that you can see me, you can see this room, you can see the person next to you, it not only shows you these people and these objects, it also reveals to you that you have eyes which are functioning. The very act of seeing reveals to you that you have eyes, though you are not directly seeing your eyes. In the same way, every conscious experience reminds you, points you back to the pure consciousness you are, once you get it. Why you are asking this question is, because right now you feel, I have got it. And next tendency will be, now I have glued on to it. Then the feeling will be, I might forget it. I'll probably forget it by the time I'm out of the door. That's because it's something in the mind. It's a concept that we are beginning to understand, and that's good. But that's not yet enlightenment. Enlightenment is that separation. I am that which is illumining the understanding of pure consciousness in the mind. That understanding of pure consciousness is not pure consciousness. If I do not understand it, I am still the pure consciousness revealing the not understanding intellect. If my intellect gets it, I am still the pure consciousness which is illumining the intellect that gets it. It will be permanent, irreversible. You can never go back again. You can never forget it even if you try. Okay. Question. There was a question here. I'll come to you. Yes. Please speak into the microphone.
Something occurred to me when you were speaking that hadn't occurred to me before, and it was a way to distinguish, I know I'm going to make this into a question. It was a way to distinguish consciousness from hearing, seeing, and that is not to think of it as a thing or a function or an object, but to think of it as a relationship. And
Right.
then when you think a little further, you can think of consciousness as a relationship to Brahman.
Consciousness, the way you're thinking, as a relationship, that's a function of the mind. A relationship always takes two terms. If you remove the terms, father and son, with one term you cannot just have a father without a child. You cannot have a son without a father. And if you remove the two terms, the relationship is gone. Right?
Right.
If consciousness is a way of relating to the world, suppose you remove the world, then consciousness will be gone also.
But then you wouldn't wonder about it.
No, but when you come back, then you would say that, okay, we have an example like deep sleep. No world. Look at it from your point of view. No world. Not even the conception of yourself as a person sleeping. Follow this carefully. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you will say, then there's no need of relationship. There's no need of consciousness relationship. The two terms are not there. World is not experienced. I as a person am not experienced. And that's deep sleep. But here's the question. Did you experience deep sleep? Was there an experience of deep sleep? It's a subtle question. Think about it. Do you experience waking? Not confident? Yes. There should be a resounding yes, of course. We are experiencing waking. Do you experience dreams? Yes. Surely. We have experiences of dreams. And after that, there is a stage of deep sleep. No dream, dreamless sleep. And this is proved beyond any doubt because even physically there is science and medicine accepts, psychology accepts non-REM sleep, non-rapid eye movement sleep, which is said to be deep sleep. So there is something called deep sleep. Now the question is, do you experience deep sleep? Some would say, no, there's no experience in deep sleep. If there was not, then you know what would happen when you wake up? You would say, I was awake, I fell asleep and dreamt, now I am awake again. But you don't say that. He said, I was awake, I had dreams, and there were periods without dreams. You see, I slept like a log, I did not know anything. You did not say I was disturbed by dreams. Or I had a nightmare. No, I slept like a log, I did not know anything. Is that an experience? Yes. Why do we think it's not an experience? Sometimes you might think that's not an experience. Why do we think it's, I'll come to you. Why do you think that it's not an experience? Because, again, the 10th man problem. All the time we think an experience is an experience of an object, of a thing. That's what is experience. I am experiencing a person, a thing, a place, something. Then it's an experience. If there is nothing, then how can it be an experience? That's what we are thinking. But deep sleep is not an absence of experience. It's an experience of absence. If you remove everything from all the contents from your consciousness, that does not mean you have removed the consciousness itself. So the consciousness just illumines the blank stage of life. That's deep sleep. If you admit there is an experience in deep sleep without objects, without even a conscious subject to experience it, then you are admitting there is consciousness without terms. Then that consciousness cannot be a relationship. What is it a relationship between? So consciousness is not understood in Vedanta as a relationship. Consciousness is understood as the reality itself. Yeah. But there was another question there at the back. Yes, I'll come to you. The back there. And please speak into that. Yes.
Thank you. So consciousness being that which illumines.
Yes.
Then would that be the only true way of examining our life here, our the way we function, the way we think?
True way in this way is take your stand on that. What Advaita says is shift the reference of the I. Who am I? Right now, I say I'm this. Advaita says this is the source of your problem. First of all, it's false. You are not this. Shift it to the consciousness. That I am consciousness experiencing this. This body, mind, let it be as much of an object as this glass. That's the true standpoint. That solves your problems. At that standpoint, you have no more problems anymore. Yes.
So no need to examine at that point.
Examine what?
Your actions, your thoughts, the way we function here.
After that, you can examine, and you'll be examining from a more truer perspective.
Yeah.
You see, after that, the real major problem of life is solved there, at that point. But the game of life still goes on. Right? You still have the body, you still have a world out there, you still have to park your car, you still have to pay your mortgages, all those things are there. But then instead of becoming a terrible struggle of strife, of dwindling success and mounting failure, of a losing battle, as long as we identify ourselves with this body, it's a losing battle against the universe, because this body is going to get old and deteriorate and die, no matter how gluten-free you are. There is no solution in this world as long as you are rooted in the body. There is no safety here as long as you are rooted in the mind. Let the body be there, let the mind and intellect be there, let the life be there as it is. You take your stand as pure consciousness, you see you have no problem, and you can play the game of life as long as it goes on with great joy and freedom and then it's fun. Then it becomes Hollywood for you. It's a movie. You are the screen on which the movie of life plays. It's not a poetic way of saying it. In Advaita Vedanta, it's a literal truth. Isn't consciousness the screen on which life is experienced? Right now, without any Vedanta or anything. Isn't it in your awareness that you experience life? A greater truism cannot be there than that. Vedanta just tells you that. Stay with the awareness. Don't slip out into body and mind. Let body and mind do their thing. There was a question there somewhere. Yes, at the back. All right, we can. Yeah.
Namaste, Swami.
Namaste.
My name is Kirana. My question is, I know that I am consciousness.
Yes.
But should I have to intellectually keep on telling that, I have to associate my ego to consciousness always? I mean, I to consciousness always?
Yes, because, not because you actually have to do it, it's because every time the I associates itself with body-mind, then the correction has to be done. That's the sadhana. In fact, in Vedanta, that's called nididhyasana. Every time I act, I think, I speak as if I am this thing, then the correction has to be done within me. Look, you have understood your awareness. Why don't you live up to that? Why don't you claim that? Every problem you examine in this light, you will see the problem solved. It disappears. The problem is not solved, it's dissolved. Do you want to follow up on that? Yes.
So, I will always associate my I-ness to that consciousness.
Yes. You have to do it once. In fact, the word I used, pratibodha viditam matam, there is a beautiful commentary that in that Sanskrit it says, it's a knowledge that flashes once forever. Once it's done, if you have to keep on practicing, it's like an intellectual way of convincing yourself. It's a good practice, but it's not yet enlightenment. The enlightenment comes in a flash once, and you cannot drive it away again. But for that, this practice you're telling is a good practice.
Thank you so much.
Yes, it's a powerful practice. There's a question there.
Yeah, Swamiji, my name is Sean.
Yes.
And so we come to this class and we spend a good 1 hour to really understand, well, not really say that I would really understand. I have that understanding of the concept, right? And then once you go out, we have the material duties to perform each day. We get into that day-to-day the sufferings and
make it precise, the question. Yes.
Sufferings, right? How do we make sure that we remember the realization of the consciousness even we do the material duties on each day?
There can be many answers to this. It's like in dualism you ask, how do I keep my mind on God in the midst of life? But here the answer is much more direct and very fascinating. You know what you're asking? You're asking, I know I see everything with my eyes. When I see so many things, how do I remember my eyes? What should be the answer? The instinct is to say, whip out a mirror and look at your eyes. No, that's not the Advaitic answer. What's the Advaitic answer? Can you tell me?
Look backwards. Look inward, or I don't know, maybe.
How does seeing something remind me of my eyes? Tell me. Because you're seeing. Do you see? No, see? No? The very fact that you see, you know what it tells me? Two things. It's a glass. And the second thing is, my eyes are seeing this glass, that I have got eyes. Otherwise I can't see the glass. In our unenlightened state, if you show this, he'll say, what is this? A glass. The enlightened person says, glass appearing to my eyes. I'm not talking about eyes or glass. I'm talking about pure consciousness and your life. Every duty that you perform, whether you're driving a car, teaching students, buying something at a shop, getting angry, losing your temper, then feeling guilty about it, all of that points back to the pure consciousness, completely untouched and pristine and immortal which you are. Question? Oh, let's come here. Okay, there's a gentleman who's been raising his hand. Then we'll come here. That'll be the last one.
Yeah. Swamiji, my question is, you said, or at least I thought you said, that consciousness is immortal, it doesn't die with you.
Yes.
Okay. Now, intellectually, in the absence of a better word, how do I, rationalize that, or do I have to take that on faith, that consciousness is immortal and doesn't die with me?
Right. I can give you a number of answers, but two things I'll tell you. One on this side first. One thing is, did you notice all changes are objects of consciousness? Every change that you experience is experienced in consciousness. Think about changes. This room, your body, your life, your thoughts. All of them are lit up by you, the consciousness. Consciousness itself never changes. Not on faith. Think about it deeply, you'll see that consciousness itself cannot change. It is that which illumines change. It is that which reveals change. If it cannot change, how can it die? Okay? This is one thing. The second thing is, a more direct answer is, don't bother about it. If by centering yourself in pure consciousness, all your problems are solved now and forever, don't bother about the future death of the body. Think about it. It goes so deep. The rabbit hole runs very deep. Life and death. Are they life and death of the consciousness, or are life and death revealed in consciousness? Clearly there is birth and life and death of the body. Clearly, everybody sees that. But birth and life and death of the consciousness, has anyone experienced it? No. Birth and life and death are revealed by consciousness. Time, past, present and future. – Is consciousness in time, or is time in consciousness? Vedanta will say time is in consciousness. Space. Is consciousness a point in space, or is space in consciousness? Space is in consciousness. Somebody asked, in a Vedanta teacher in the Himalayas, Swami, you are telling us that I am all pervading, but no, I am here, I am not there. How can I be all pervading? I am here, I am not there. You get the question? Now listen to the answer carefully. Any one of these answers is enough to enlighten a person. I am here, I am not there. How can I be all pervading? And the answer was, here and there, are they not two in your consciousness? The whole experience of here and there, of space, is it not in consciousness? In fact, when you say consciousness is all pervading, it's a concession to space. By taking space to be real, we say consciousness is all pervading. Actually, even that is not true. When we say consciousness is eternal, non-dying, that's a concession to time, past, present, and future. Actually, even that is not true. Because we say that, otherwise the reaction will be, oh, so consciousness is not eternal. No, we are not saying that. Eternal, not eternal do not apply to consciousness. Because they are time words, they're tensed words, past, present, and future. Consciousness is everything. You're making a concession to things. Only when you accept all things, then you say, okay, consciousness pervades everything. But everything is in consciousness. Consciousness is not in everything. Yes. All pervading, eternal, non-dual, these are also relative terms. Ultimately, consciousness in itself, you cannot say anything about it. As the teacher said, beyond words. Last question.
Pranam Swami. My name is Cornelius, and I heard you speak about the availability of liberation right now.
Yes.
And what I wanted to ask is kind of piggybacking on some of the other questions, twofold actually. First question is, what is that one thing that shrouds this consciousness or this conscious reality for me right now? And secondly, how do we transmute a familiar unknowing into a experiential one, I guess?
All right. Let me change your idea about liberation. The idea we have always been taught about liberation in Vedanta is that I am not yet liberated. I am a person in search of liberation. The Hindus and Buddhists and Jains, the Indian religion, see as a cycle of birth and death. I am undergoing births and deaths and suffering until I get liberated. When I shall finally see, okay, I am liberated, no more is birth and death for me, I am this infinite consciousness and all that is past behind me. That's the way Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, all the dharmic traditions in India, they see it, the cycle. Now I'll tell you something shocking. It's wrong. When you get enlightened, you will not say, oh, I was in a cycle of birth and death. Now I am liberated from it. Now I shall not have any more birth and death. I will remain as pure consciousness. No. What you will say is, I always was pure consciousness and liberated. I am pure consciousness and liberated. I always will remain as pure consciousness and liberated. That entire so-called cycle of birth and death was a phantasm, a nightmare. It never was it is a fiction. It never was a reality. The reality was I was always liberated. In the negative language, in the Mandukya Upanishad, Gaudapada puts it, there is no one who is liberated. So we are all in bondage. There is nobody who is in bondage. So we are all seeking. There is nobody who is seeking. What do you mean? This is the final truth. I'm literally translating Gaudapada's Karika. So this is the concept of liberation, the ultimate. But if you say it at first, it doesn't make sense. The first thing, the immediate reaction will be, okay, we can stop coming to Vedanta Society. Radhakrishnan put it this way, that this is too much, he says. You are selling an unreal solution to an unreal problem. There was this person, there were these so-called snake oil salesmen earlier who would say this will cure all your diseases. So the judge sentenced a person like that. It's a real case in the 18th century in America. A quack to jail. And the sentence was this, the charge was this. He's found guilty of selling real remedies to unreal ailments and unreal remedies to real ailments. So it will sound crazy if you put it that way, but that's actually what happens. You see it from the point of view of pure awareness. That's the state which has always been there. What shrouds? What takes you across? In one word, and end with this. Ignorance shrouds it. Nothing shrouds it except ignorance. What takes you across? Nothing except knowledge. Just to know it. But behind that is the whole entire story of spiritual life. It sounds direct and pretty easy. In one sense it is, in another sense not at all. Alright. I pray to Sri Ramakrishna, to the Holy Mother, to bless us all with this insight, so that we may find blessedness in this very life itself. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.